There was just a bit of breaking news that dropped that kind of broke everybody's brains because honestly, this just doesn't make sense. I'm just keeping it 100. You know, there's sometimes little bits of information revealed where you're like, okay, makes sense. Checks out. This one totally doesn't make sense to me at all. You see, Paul Tassi put out an article and then he tweeted out, or vice versa, whichever the order was, that Highguard did not, in fact, pay for its infamous Game Awards finale slot. He says 2 separate sources have told me that Highguard did not have to pay for that hugely coveted spot at all. Reportedly, showrunner Jeff Keighley just really liked the game and offered it to them. There is speculation that another game may have dropped out of the spot, opening it up, but I can't confirm that. The revelation that Highguard didn't need to pay for the spot was previously reported by Imran Khan, which I can now corroborate. What? And like I tweeted out, I was like, what? So Jeff honestly just thought that was the best spot for it. Huge miscalculation if true. But he says he has 2 separate sources telling him that. Somebody else also reported it. So it seems like it is the case that they did not pay for that spot. Now, what is key here is that it's not clear from the verbiage whether or not this means that they were put in the show for free. Okay. Because there's 2 things being discussed. 1, a payment to be in the show, and 2, a payment for that slot, right? Like you paid the entry ticket and then you pay an upgrade fee to go to first class, right? What they seem to be clearly stating is that there was no upgrade cost to go to that spot. That's where Jeff put them. And that would make sense given what Raptor told us after he attended the Game Awards. So if you don't remember, Jor went to the Game Awards. He was present and afterwards, I think this is when Jor called in and told us about it. Okay, listen to this. Lukeception with Jor Raptor. Okay, this is what Jor told us about Phantom Blade Zero, which was also in the show. Okay,
it's pretty interesting. Like from the Phantom Blade Zero people who were at the show as well, that I met like afterwards. That they did not, like, they were one of the final trailers as well, but they just gave the trailer to Jeff and they did not know where he was going to put it. So it does seem that maybe the first few you really like communicate, and then maybe the final one as well. So yeah, I don't know, maybe Jeff did, like, he of course I do think also wants to be like, it's all the Game of the Year nominations are all the single player games. I do think he wants to, be more with the modern times and
modern audience. So Jor says that Phantom Blade did not get to pick their spot. They just paid like the money to be in the show, and then Jeff chose where it went. I think it makes sense, honestly, that Jeff played the game. As he told you, he got to play the game. And he thought it was really good. And he probably honestly thought that this was going to go over very, very differently. As I've said 1,000 times, I think its placement in the show where it was a massive miscalculation. And to be fair, honestly, everybody makes mistakes, okay? It's very normal to make mistakes and to misjudge it. When we did the New Game Plus showcase, we had certain like goals for what we wanted to do. Our goal was to cut down the yapping between segments into like 20 seconds. Turns out it's not that easy to trim that down. So the show ended up being 3.5 hours long, and like an hour and a half that was us talking. So we learned our lesson, and next time the show is going to be greatly adjusted and tweaked to account for that, because we learned and grow. Mistakes happen, right? Too much yapping still. You have no idea what I'm capable of. So I think it's fine if there's mistakes. I just think this was like a massive mistake, and a mistake that's so baffling because I feel like I again to this day have not seen. I've seen one person that seems to be somewhat defending Highguard, not necessarily like hyped for it or hyping. Actually, no, I stand corrected. A buddy of mine, I have made fun of him for this, okay? I've made fun of him for this. I love him to death. He's very, very funny. Hold on, I will pull it up. Because it was honestly funny, and I did make fun of him for it, okay? I have to share this with you. My good buddy, Blue Thunder, big TikToker. he did a video reacting to the trailer, and I did poke fun at him for this. Okay, so he's like one of the guys that actually did seem hyped for it.
This looks incredible. Brand new game from the developers of Apex Legends and Titanfall.
And the comments are pretty priceless, dude. The comments are pretty priceless. They're like pretty hardcore. People just... So rest assured, I made fun of him. I think what he told me, he was like, dude, I was so hyped up on caffeine, because he also just had a baby. So he's like, he's fighting for his life with a newborn. Yeah, he says I was ripped on caffeine. So I did poke fun at him for that. He's one of like 2 people I've seen that expressed hype for that. To be fair, his TikTok did have 80,000 likes, so maybe there's 80,000 people out there that also think it looks baller. I don't know, but I think that Jeff, you know, looked at it and thought that it was gonna go over much differently, and it just didn't. Now, I do still think there's a chance that the game ends up being really good, you know? It ends up being really good. I just don't know, because we have like nothing to go off of, you know? We just don't. Josh, thank you for the bits. Here's the thing. Ooh, 1,000 bits too. Very generous. Thank you. Was he paid for that? No. The thing you have to understand about short form, and this is something I've learned over pushing it the last 2 weeks, short form is like 75-80% share based. So most of the views that you get on short form are based on friends sharing the video with friends. Friends tend to share things that either are really funny or things that look cool that they want to like share with them. They don't tend to share things that look kind of meh or blah. They'll just scroll past it, right? If you want to do well on short form, it tends to reward like the hype and the crazy excitement of like, whoa, check this out. This game would be so cool for us to play together. You know, that's what tends to do well. So I think it's more that. As far as I understand it, he was not paid or anything. I think that they expected this to go over much better. And maybe like Jeff, to a certain extent, really did buy into the hype of like former Apex devs. This is gonna be Apex Legends 2.0, right? And it just did not come off that way. I think it's also just every once in a while, the people that do these shows get so in their bubble and like so in the zone that they kind of lose sight of the forest for the trees. Like I think Jeff was surely like, we just announced the new Larian game, a new big Star Wars project. Like we had some big reveals. So this being revealed at the end is not going to be a big deal. Everybody else got plenty to eat. You know, there was lots of stuff at the buffet for everybody. But because of its placement, I think that's what makes it feel weird. Because the placement of the show does matter. And it feels like every year or two, there's one of these big lessons where it's like a little bit of a blunder or mistake and they just didn't really think of it. And then the next year they course correct. So I guarantee you next year, Jeff's show, the last reveal is going to be the biggest one. Guarantee it. Just like a couple of years back when they did the wrap it up thing, they reacted the next year and were like, okay, we'll be a little bit more free flowing. You can take your time. I just threw something. You can take your time and we're not going to rush you and stuff. And I think that works much better. It's just the way that a lot of this stuff works is that often you don't know that something doesn't work until you've tried it and realized it doesn't work, right? The wrap it up is a classic. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the wrap it up was a direct response to the Christopher Judge speech for God of War Ragnarok, because it was like 8 minutes long, 9 minutes. 9 minutes long. Yeah, 2022. So the wrap it up, I think, happened in 2023, and it was specifically a response to this because the speech just never ended. I love Chris Judge, but like, bro, it was crazy. It went on forever. So I think that's what they were doing. But then after 2023, they swung the other way. They're like, okay, we went too far. Let's pull it back. And then 2024, they leveled it out again. And with this, I'm sure it's going to be a similar thing. Just like a handful of years ago, like 2018, 19, they had tons of musical performances of like bands you had never heard of. And they were just like randomly singing. They balanced that out. Heard people didn't really like it. So this is just how it goes. You know, it's a mistake. You move on from it. The tough thing for Highguard is that it's going to be really tough to move on from it. But the biggest thing with all this is, again, the revelation that they apparently did not pay for that spot. Jeff put it there because he thought it was the best game for the spot. And I think it's probably twofold. For one, I think he bought into the hype. It was like former Apex devs, Titanfall devs. That is a great thing to have on your resume. So maybe fans of those games will be really hyped for what we have to show here. And they're just disconnected from the reality of like hero-based shooters that people just mentally are exhausted by. Two, I think that there probably was also just a thought that, hey, we revealed a bunch of other stuff for single player RPG players, narrative players. They have other stuff that they got during the show, so they won't be upset if we put something like this at the end of the show. And I think what Jor said also is probably true, that these games, if they're successful, get massive player bases. And so he's trying to serve every facet of the industry. It's not just the single player RPG players. It's not just the Star Wars fans. It's not just the simulation players. It's like the whole gaming industry. And so while you and I might not connect with Highguard, maybe they thought that some other people would. But either way, it's going to be fascinating. There still is no word from them at all. They've gone still radio silent. It's a little over a week until the game launches. And some people have responded to this. You remember this guy? We reacted to his clip where he was calling people like saying that they were acting in bad faith if they thought the game looked bad. And I think he called people stupid too. It was a whole thing. But he is a former IGN guy now, just says he's a content creator. But he says many Highguard haters brag they possess otherworldly pattern recognition, so they don't need to play games to know they'll hate them. Whenever I see M dashes now, I just think you're using AI writing tools. I know a lot of people do use M dashes unironically, but I've noticed since the rise of like, let me help you write that with Gemini or something, immediately like M dash uses skyrocketed. Whenever I see M dashes, I'm like, okay, I'm not saying he is. It's just an observation that M dashes are usually a sign of AI use. Anyway, he says, yeah, they bragged that they possess otherworldly pattern recognition. No, it's just that for one, it's the final announcement in a show. And it was a letdown of an announcement. It's just kind of generic. The game could be really cool, but even if this were like a massive overhaul to Overwatch or something, one of the biggest games in gaming history, the most recognizable games in gaming history, and they announced like Overwatch 3, this time with even less content. If they announced that, it would still be underwhelming because it's nothing like really new or fresh or exciting. It's just like more hero shooter slop, slop may be excessive. I'll take that back. More hero shooter, familiar content. Fair. So I don't think it's claiming otherworldly pattern recognition or anything. It's just people look at it and found it uninteresting or kind of blah. And here's one of my other frustrations with this general vibe of like immediately dismissing the opinions of people that you disagree with, because it seems like Fran thinks the game looks cool. Awesome. Or thinks that people are rushing to judgment. Sure. Okay. But what I think is so frustrating about this particular way of handling it and framing it this way, it again attributes motive negatively when somebody is just honestly communicating their impressions of what they saw. You don't need to be a chef to know that something doesn't look appetizing, to know that something doesn't smell good. I don't need to be a fashion designer to know that an outfit looks ugly. I don't need to be a home builder to know that the doors should shut cleanly and the house shouldn't creak. Like, I don't need to be an expert or have extensive experience in this field or to have done some massive inspection of what we're talking about to go off of my initial impressions, because that's what everything does. Like your job as a consumer is to evaluate the offering, see if it connects with you, and if you like what they're offering and you think it makes sense for you, you buy it and consume it. And in this case it's free to play, but you consume it and buy it with your time and energy. And the job of the company making the thing is to sell it to you and convince you that it is worth buying and it is interesting. And the point for me, and I think most other people that reacted to the reveal, was just that they did a bad job of selling people on it, demonstrably so. I think a game that does a good job of selling you on it is a game that has tons of people really hyped for it after the fact. This game clearly did not achieve that goal, He says, and yet hilarious, so many can still not seem to recognize former Apex devs. Nobody's denying that there's former Apex devs working on it. Is that supposed to be like a got you? Apex surprise launched almost 7 years ago to the date. Okay. And you'll see what he's doing is he's trying to suggest that the lack of marketing and lack of any communication whatsoever is because they're Apex devs. And last time with Apex, they did a surprise drop. But this is so silly to me for one very big reason that I'm about to get to. Same general formula, save for a single exception, an announced trailer. It's not rocket science. My friend in heaven, my friend under the guidance and warmth of Todd's embrace. Apex was known for a surprise launch, save for one exception, an announced trailer with a date. So the connection you are making between Apex's surprise launch and what they're going to do for Highguard is that Apex surprise launched, except Highguard will not be a surprise. So it's just a launch, like every other game that's ever launched. So I don't think this is the own that you think it is. Like, yeah, it's Apex surprise launched out of nowhere. Nobody saw it coming and it was amazing. This game is exactly the same, except that it's completely different in the one key way that I'm referencing. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It could be great. The game could be awesome, dude. It could be awesome. It could be. It might be. Maybe. Okay? Maybe. What we're saying is that there's very little reason to think that it is, to be convinced that it is. They've not marketed it. They've done no communication of it. There's speculation they did have a creator preview event or something in the last couple of weeks that was secret, and that they are going to do basically on the 26th, they're going to drop the creator previews and impressions. They're going to open the servers and just try to do everything all at once in one day, get people super excited and just blast it. Have it be a big moment. And maybe, but I don't think people are wrong for being like, this is weird. This is weird. Because you're right. Apex came out of nowhere, shadow dropped and found tons of success. Still going strong to this day. I love Apex personally. I love Apex. I think it's great. Wish they'd bring arenas back, but we'll see if they ever do that. But this is one that they announced and revealed. So it's not the same thing. It's just not. It's just not. And I think trying to frame it as basically just Apex is disingenuous or delusional or just stupid, because like it's literally not a shadow drop if everybody knows it's dropping on that day, because you've already announced and revealed it and people found that announcement and revelation wanting, you know? It's really frustrating me and like baffling to see somebody so clearly in a bulleted list outline. So it's like Apex, because Apex did a surprise launch, and this is exactly the same, except that it's not a surprise. So therefore it's just a launch. So therefore it's not different at all. Okay. Like, or it's actually completely different. It's not different. It's not exactly the same. It's completely different. See, you've broken my brain. My brain is fried. My brain is fried. Congratulations. So we'll see, you know, where this goes. I don't know. My face is tired. My face is tired, but oh my God. A follow-up, Rebs says, as Paul said, he's not the only one to report that Highguard developers did not pay for the Game Awards finale spot. 11 days ago, gaming reporter Imran Khan stated that they paid for a spot in general, but Jeff chose Highguard to be the final reveal, like I said earlier in the segment. So funny note, they did not pay for that spot. Like obviously you pay for a Game Awards spot in general, but the choice of where to put in the show is Keeley's. I'd argue he screwed them a bit with the placement here. I would also agree. I think it did a lot more damage than good. But I mean, what are you going to tell Jeff? No, we don't want to be the final announcement. Like, you'll take that if you get it, but I do think it was a miscalculation. But it's free. It is free. And I do think that there's going to be a good number of people that try it, but it's like we did that poll like a week or two ago where I asked you guys, which game do you think has a higher concurrent player count after, say, a week, Marathon or Highguard? And I think it's pretty clearly going to be Marathon. I think people might try Highguard out of curiosity, if they even do, but even for a free-to-play game, you need interest, intrigue. You got to have people that boot it up just out of curiosity. But when you're taking this, like, what I think they're clearly doing is this like shadow drop approach. where it's not a shadow drop, but you're going to shadow drop it. Where they're going to just be silent until a day before, basically. I think it's really hard to build hype because even now, again, like I showed in my video the other day on the main channel, there were more people in Concord's like Twitter following. They had their Discord server. There were more active followers and fans of Concord earlier than there are currently for Highguard. Like that's a problem. Even the day after Concord launched, they had more followers than Highguard does right now. They have double, or had double, the followers. So I just think like clearly not marketing your game is a bold choice, especially when things are so competitive. The one way that works is if the game is phenomenal, and specifically if word of mouth carries it across the finish line and helps it spread wide and far. Maybe. But when your game is already drowning in negativity and is already drowning in bad word of mouth, it's going to be tough to overcome that, you know? I just don't know, but we'll see. I mean, there's things that are surprising all the time. I think now Marathon, the more of Marathon I see, the more and more likely I think that is of actually finding a good amount of success. A lot of the stuff they've shown in the last couple of weeks, I think looks really good, and it just keeps getting better and better. And I think Marathon could actually find a good amount of success when it launches, which is not something I thought was the case 6 months ago. If you asked me 6 months ago, I was like, not so sure. But they went away, they worked on it, and you know, they're making improvements. Still an uphill climb, don't get me wrong. It's far from a slam dunk, but I think it's in a much, much better spot. So we'll see where this lands with Highguard. We're going to find out soon enough. I do think that I do want to try it. I realize, though, my friends, I'm going to be on a plane. I'm going to be on a plane when it drops. So I think I'm going to be bringing my gaming laptop with me to my location, and then in the hotel room that night I'll record something and I'll have Jacob frantically cut it together or something. So I'll give it a shot. You know, I'm hoping my plane has one of those like Starlink things, you know how some of the planes do the Starlink thing, so you can like game in the sky. It won't be ideal, but that would be cool. That'd be cool. I hope they drop it at midnight so that I can record it right before, because I think we have to leave for the airport at like 3 a.m. So I might just pull an all-nighter, you know. Maybe I'll do that. I would ask them, but they've gone radio silent, so who knows? I don't think they'll tell me, even if I asked. When's the game launching officially? Like, actually? Can't tell you. It's going to be a surprise. We're shadow dropping it on this day, and you know it's coming. So it's totally a shadow drop, even though it's not. He took my thing.